But today our topic is Louisiana fruit and low-fat fruit dip. I don't think we told y'all it would be low-fat because we wanted to make sure everybody tuned in. We didn't want anybody to say, oh no, we don't want something low-fat. So we're going to go with that today. I'm Quincy Vadrine. As I said, I'm the Area Nutrition SNAP Ed agent in the Northeast region serving Franklin and Caldwell parishes. I've been with the Ag Center 17 years now, and my passion is teaching and food. I work with the SNAP Ed program, and SNAP Ed is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and the LSU Ag Center provides the education arm of that program. We have been educating SNAP-eligible families since 1994, and that's the year that I graduated high school, so that's a long time. We have 39 nutrition educators and agents working with SNAP Ed eligible audiences throughout the state of Louisiana in 36 different parishes. So we have a really great reach, and we have a wonderful faculty and staff that do a lot of great nutrition programming. So what we're doing here today for Facebook Live is in line with that type of programming. We're going to look at eating nutritious, staying in line with My Plate, working with half the plate being fruits and vegetables. Of course, we're focusing on fruit today, but we're also working in the dairy part of My Plate with the fruit dip that we're going to make very shortly here. And I have to say, this fruit dip is something in my 17-year career we've made very, very many times, especially with the kids chefs and teen chef groups that I work with. They really love the dip. So we'll go ahead and kind of move in and start talking about our fruit here. First of all, I'm going to point out things for Louisiana that's becoming seasonal. Your strawberries are kind of going out of season right now, but we do have blackberries that are coming in, which very, very good, very nutritious. Your blackberries, just 1 cup is going to give you 62 calories with 7.6 grams of fiber. That's what makes it a superfood. Plus it has all the antioxidants with that deep dark coloring. Next to that, another superfood, you've got your blueberries here, another great Louisiana fruit. Those will be coming in the next month or so. So keep an eye out for those at your grocers and farmers markets, and look for places where you can actually go pick your own blackberries and blueberries. That's a great way to work in physical activity and get your daily requirements for that. Today we're also going to use a few other things that maybe aren't commonly found in Louisiana. We've got some raspberries, some kiwis. We pulled some cherries in today. Things that you will find in Louisiana coming along later in the summer will be your melons. So we've got a little seedless watermelon, a cantaloupe. And we're going to show you how to cut up a pineapple, because part of this session also is working with knife skills. And the reason why we're working that in for a SNAP Ed type program is that we want to make sure we're saving money when we buy food, because we all know that cost of groceries and food has gone up tremendously in the past few years. So we want to make sure we're getting the most bang for our buck. And that is the most nutrient dense foods and the healthiest options that we can use, especially like for this when it comes to snacks and working on those My Plate requirements. So we're going to cut up the pineapple, we're going to cut up melons, and we're going to look at what the food cost on that would be versus buying it already cut up. I think you'll find it's a really big difference, and it could really affect your budget if you're struggling and having to cut some corners there. So we'll look at that too. So I'll go ahead and get started with our Facebook Live Knife Skills event. And we'll go ahead and start with the most fun part, in my opinion. We're going to cut the pineapple. Now, pineapple, you want to make sure when you're buying it at the grocery store that it's in season per se. We know we can buy pretty much any kind of fruit and vegetable now that is being shipped from elsewhere, but it looks so much better when you have all of the leaves are still green. They're not brown and crumbly or kind of withered looking. So if you look at this pineapple, great look on these leaves. When you pick it up, they stay intact. And then you've got a pretty green outside. It's not brown, and all your little leaves here are not you know, kind of withery. So what we're going to do, this is a fun way to cut a pineapple, and it's a very much more cost-effective way to get pineapple into your home for snacks for your family. So this is going to look kind of dangerous, but I just want you to just bear with me here. We're going to make this really, really pretty because we found that we're just going to cut right down the center. If the fruit and the way you present it looks attractive, your family is more likely to eat it or even just try it. So we've got our pineapple there. We cut it in half. Got a few leaves there. Throw them out to the side. And already, look how pretty that looks. Now, pineapple is another food that's very high in vitamin C. We're talking about the blackberries. Your blackberries are going to give you more than 50% of your vitamin C per day in just 1 cup. Pineapple is not very far behind that. So what I'm going to do now, I've got 2 pieces of pineapple. When you're using your knife skills, you always want to try to find a flat side to what you're cutting because that's the safest way to do it. And you want to, I call this the little paw. You're going to use your little paw, kind of use your fingernails, because prior to getting to this point, well, of course, we've washed our hands really, really well, practicing food safety. You always want to get under your nails with a little nail brush, use soap and water. So I'm not scared to use my nails because I know they're good and clean. My hands have been washed and sanitized. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut through here, and when you're using your knife skills, if you'll notice, I've got a big 8-inch chef's knife. We're going to go all the way down, keeping a knife tip on the board, and just cut right through. You didn't hear my knife clack on the board. You didn't hear a bunch of noise except for those leaves kind of crackling. And so we're going to continue to cut through our leaves like that. And we've got our fruit cut. Okay? So now you've got 2 sections. Well, what we're going to do, I'm going to take this boning knife. In Louisiana, and I know Anna probably calls it this, we call it a fillet knife because we use it to fillet our fish, but we do use it to bone out chickens and big cuts of meat and such. But I'm just going to cut the little core out of your pineapple. Most of the time when you buy pineapple in the grocery store, you get it, if you can get it fresh, you'll get it, you know, the rings of pineapple. If you buy an 8-ounce container of that at the grocery store, that's going to run you 40 to 60% more than if you buy this whole pineapple and cut it up yourself. So think about that. Just that price point there is really high. So, and then of course buying it, you could also buy it canned and it's reasonably priced that way, but you're going to look at, you know, make sure you're getting it in water, and also, you know, make sure that you're looking at portion sizes when you're eating it this way, of course, too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that boning knife and I'm going to go under. I had to cut out a little bit of the bad part if y'all could see that. I'm going to go underneath it here, go all the way to the end, just working my knife slowly, keeping those fingers out of the way, and then end it right there. I'm going to use this part to do the same. Cut out that core. Kind of have to work it because it's a little bit tough, but you want to make sure you're only getting the core and not getting the meat of that fruit, because that's the best part. So we're going to go underneath here. Same thing, using that boning knife. The reason why I like to use the boning knife, I have a little bit better control. It's a smaller, thinner blade, but also when you're using a boning knife or a fillet knife, the blade is more flexible. It's not as rigid as your chef's knife. Okay, so to make this pretty presentation with your fruit, we're going to cut just some slices like so. Okay, we've got both pieces here. Now this pineapple cost me $1.99, and I was looking at an 8-ounce container of it already cut up into rings, and it was about, I think it was $4.50 or so. So we're making money today, Anna. We are making money on fruit, okay? So what we're going to do for presentation, we're just going to take it and put just some cutesy little, if I can get them apart, our toothpicks or party picks, whatever you want to call them.
Like the 4th of July thing.
Yeah. Great color there. Like I said, it makes for a really good presentation. So I'm going to get my platter here. We're making a fruit platter to go with our fruit dip. So the first thing we've got on there is our pineapple, of course. And of course we would follow suit with the other side the same way.
You're saying awesome. That looks really good.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Got another platter over here. Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way, and we might cut it later because, you know, when you're doing stuff, if you do it more, that reinforcement is better for learning. We're going to go on to, I will show you the melon. We'll move on to the cantaloupe. Now with your melons, you want to make sure, even though you think they've got that good protective, you know, skin, that good outer layer, that it keeps the flesh inside safe, consider where it comes from. These grow on the ground on a vine, of course, that vines out. Lots of dirt and microbes in the soil. So you want to make sure when you get it home, you wash it really well. Not with soap or anything like that, but under cool running water, using your fingers to loosen up any dirt that might be left behind. Or you could use a little fruit and vegetable brush. That would be good as well. So we're going to take our cantaloupe. I'll use my big knife on this one. And we're going to cut straight down the center here. If you notice, like I said, I've got my knife on the cutting board here. Go all the way through. And if you're working on your knife skills, it's good to use that tip on the board tip because it helps you to build strength in your wrist and your hand that help you to control your knife better. So that's the key to safety there. So I'm going to scoop out, don't want to get too much of the fruit there. We're going to get rid of the seeds. And you could use a spoon to do this as well.
Don't forget they can ask questions too.
Oh yeah, please, questions. I'd love to have some questions. A big part of the programming that I've done in my years with the Ag Center is working with youth and teaching them how to be safe in the kitchen with kitchen safety and food safety. And I think by far in my 13 years of doing Kid Chef and Teen Chef camps, the most popular things that we've done is always our knife skills session. So we usually start off our week of Kid Chef camp doing knife skills where we cut up the Holy Trinity, the onions, bell peppers, celery. We always throw in a little bit of garlic, and then we learn how to cut herbs as well, but they get to take their gumbo bag home. So knife skills are a lot of fun, not just for kids, but I find adults like it too. So I've got my bone and knife back out there, and we're gonna do this just the same. And I know if I eat it at home, I just eat it in a wedge like this. And I like to put a little salt on mine, Anna.
Oh, yeah.
But we're just going to cube it up like so. And we're going to put it on our platter over here, just kind of in some chunks. And we've already got 2 colors there with your fruit. You want to make sure that you vary your colors, just like your vegetables. You don't want to eat the same color vegetable and same color fruit every day because each of those colors gives you different nutrients.
That's beautiful.
Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay. So, okay, we've got a little pile there. I'm going to move these to the side.
Danielle says, Ray wants to know, what is your favorite fruit?
My favorite fruit? Honestly, I'd have to say the blackberries. Especially, when they're in season and we've picked them. My husband told me to go out yesterday behind the propane tank at the camp, and we had plenty of fresh blackberries that were coming in. So I do love blackberries. I also love bananas. We don't have bananas here today, but thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
Pam says her grandkids always love the kids' cooking classes.
Oh, good, good. Thank you, Pam. All right, got our board cleaned up a little bit. Let's see. All right. I'm going to take an extra tool for our kiwi. Now, kiwi are also, like I said, the pineapple, the blackberries, very high in vitamin C, and you're getting a whole different color group here. So I've got my paring knife, which when we're talking about knife skills, I'll go back a little bit. We've got our 8-inch chef's knife. A chef's knife is pretty much what you would consider like your utility knife in the kitchen. It's good for just about anything except for small, intricate cuts, which is where you would go to the paring knife for. So when you've got smaller things to cut up, you know, you've got that. Or you could, you know, like I said, use that boning knife. But we're going to cut our ends off of the kiwi. And to get the skin off, we could just peel it with the paring knife. Or there's another trick where you use your spoon and just go through underneath very carefully. Try not, like I said, with the knife, not to get too much of the flesh. And just go around.
What? That's awesome.
And peel it off. Yeah. That spoon is, it's not sharp, but it's a good cutting utensil, or, you know, it loosens it from the skin. So we're just going to slice that. And kiwis are one of the prettiest fruit, honestly. And they're pretty much readily available at your grocery stores all year. Oop, threw that one at you, Anna. Okay. I'm going to wipe my board again. So we've got our yellow, our orange, our peach looking, green. What are we going to go with next? How about strawberries? Okay, so we're going to do some strawberries. When you're selecting strawberries, just like when you're looking at your pineapple, you want to look first for Louisiana grown strawberries, if you can get them. Secondly, look at them and make sure that the greenery on it, the leaves are still green and not really withered and brown looking, because you're going to get a fresher, better strawberry. So I'm just going to use this, since it does have the pretty green on these, and we're just going to cut down. Notice I'm not going all the way to the end. I'm starting about almost to where the stem is, and I'm just cutting through like that, little short, thin cuts. And they're all vertical like so. And we made a beautiful strawberry fan. So that's fabulous to put on your fruit trays. Do a couple more. Like I said, don't go all the way to the end. I almost got too far on that one. Just some little intricate slices. Make your little fan. Okay. So since we've got all those colors now, we're going to go ahead and do a couple of little blackberry, blueberry kebabs to finish off our tray with our final coloring there. And I'm going to reach over there. Now blueberries are going to get in season pretty quick here, so be on the lookout. They'll have them at the farmers markets and such. So let's see if we can use our pineapple as a prop there. And of course, like I said before, if you can possibly find somewhere to go and pick your own, do that. Get your kids out there. It's something fun to do. Get them out from in front of screens and have some family time. And research does show that if kids are involved in growing, harvesting, even just helping you put the food together, they're more likely to try it. So we want to do everything we can to encourage them to eat healthy. And of course, this fruit, all these nutrients in it, is one of the best things you can do. So there we go. We've got that here. We're going to add a little bit of pink with these raspberries. It's going to make that peach pop. And you've got a beautiful fruit tray. Now, if you were to come home from work or school, say you're, in elementary or junior high, wouldn't that be beautiful to come home to have in the refrigerator? This just took us, how long did this take us to do, Anna?
Like 5 to 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes, yeah. So you've got that. The fruit dip, which we're going to get to later, you'll see is really, really quick as well. But just a little bit of time, a little bit of, prep, I should say, and you've got a beautiful tray of fruit that's much more attractive, in my opinion, than a bag of cookies or anything like that that's not so nutrient dense. So I'm going to go ahead, we'll cut up the melon. And this one, like I said, we're going to use those knife skills. As quick as I can get that tip to the board, I want to get it down there because it's safer. Okay. And this does have a few little seeds in it. But again, I almost didn't follow my own rule there. We're going to get it on our flat side. Go down the middle there. And these, I think I'm going to do something a little different. We're just going to make some little wedges all the way through. Uh-oh, my kids chefs would give me the clacking award. We always want to be clacker lacking in kids chef, so we don't want to hear that clack. It can get very noisy, and plus I know it's dangerous when I hear that clacking noise. So let me scoot over here. Oh, we've still got our other beautiful piece of pineapple. So we're going to take this and kind of arrange those wedges. And that contrast is gorgeous. These fruit that nature provides and our agriculture producers in our state, look at that. That's only through those wonderful things that we have access to in Louisiana. And it's such a blessing to have these kind of things readily available to us. Okay, so we've got that there. What color do we need in the middle? I think the orange.
Yeah.
Let's pop it with that. And I used to actually grow cantaloupe at my house. It grows great along a fence line. And please do not take me for horticulture advice. I just remember that's how my grandmother did it, so I did it. You would definitely need to consult one of our horticulture agents to get the official information on that, which we have such great resources at the Ag Center. It's not all nutrition and cooking. We've got some of the greatest ag and natural resource specialists. We've got wonderful researchers, and we have such a large amount of resources to offer the people of Louisiana. So we hope no matter where you're tuning into this Facebook Live from, you're aware that we have these things available for you, and all you have to do is call your local extension office, and they can point you in the right direction for a lot of different needs, whether it be nutrition, food safety, like I said, horticulture, ag and natural resources, if you're producers, farming, things like that, insects, pesticides, all kind of stuff. So that's my marketing ploy.
Don't forget the homepage of the website has Find Your Agent link.
That's right, we do. We have a Find Your Agent link on the website, which is great. And if you haven't visited our website, www.lsuagcenter.com, there's a plethora of information on there. Many years and many knowledgeable heads have put that thing together. So definitely check that out. If you're looking for a particular parish agent, you just do the / and the parish name, and it'll lead you right to that individual parish's page. So we've got 64 parishes with 64 websites or pages on our website that are there for your access. So we'll go ahead and move on. I wanted to show y'all, now this is not a Louisiana fruit, but it is something that it's a little different, and it's a tropical fruit, and it's not very common. And I think maybe you might pass by it in the grocery store and think, what in the world is that, or should I try that? I don't even know how to begin messing with that. So this is a dragon fruit, and dragon fruit are a little different each time you get them. It just depends on the part of the world that it's coming from and how long it's traveled, and what I think there are a few, like couple different varieties, because some of the inside flesh is white, sometimes it's deep dark pink, and sometimes I've had it like a light green, kind of akin to the color of that melon in the middle of the stripes there. So what I'm going to do with the dragon fruit, I'm just going to cut it open. And this is a white one. It's got a little bit of a core there at the bottom. So if you look at that, how beautiful it is. You've got that beautiful color around the edges, the white in the middle. Dragon fruit actually has calcium in it, which is not common for fruits, but it does have calcium in there. And going back to those blackberries again, Anna, just to point out, blackberries, unlike a lot of other fruit, they have protein in them. They have 2 grams of protein in a cup of blackberries. So if you look at the different things here, you think of fruit for mostly your vitamin C, your antioxidants, your A, C, and E, but you've also got things like calcium and protein that come in the various types. That's why it's really important to have a variety of them. Way back, I'm showing my age, but the Ag Center, or I'm sorry, the USDA had a marketing promotion that told you to eat the rainbow. This is absolutely a rainbow. Just look at all the colors represented here and all the different nutrient categories and such. It's wonderful. Carbohydrates, everything, limited amount of fat if you can even find it. So if people are wondering, so there's your dragon fruit. All you would do, let me see if I can cut down that. This one's got like the part that connected to the tree on it. So yeah. So all you would have to do is just peel it. I'd try to leave as much of that pink as I could. And then you could kind of do it like an avocado. Cube it like that. Don't try that exactly like I'm doing it at home because it's a little dangerous. I can just feel my knife. I use it so much I know that it's not going to get me. Okay, so I'm going to cut around a little bit. Let's see here. And you can just scoop it out like so. Okay, very simple. Very, very neat fruit. Very good for you. I like this on top of a salad, honestly. It adds a different texture and a little bit of a different taste. So, okay. And Anna and I were talking earlier. I'm going to wipe my hands real quick. Yesterday was National Fruit Cocktail Day. We missed it by a day. But we did still make a beautiful fruit cocktail. So what we've got here is our fruit dip, which we're about to move on to. A little fruit salsa, which is just some diced strawberries and kiwis. And then, of course, we topped it off like a cool little mocktail. So there's our fruit cocktail that we, missed Fruit Cocktail Day for. So I'm going to move on to over here to do our fruit dip. And I hope, am I good on time, Anna?
Oh, yeah, you're good.
All right, good. Good. So this fruit dip, as I was saying earlier, very popular with kid chefs and teen chefs. They've been eating it for years now. Some of the ones that I had when they were 9 years old, they've graduated and gone on, and I'll see them at the grocery store or, shopping somewhere, and they'll say, Miss Quincy, I still love that fruit dip. Do you still have that recipe? Or I still have the recipe. So I love hearing stuff like that because sometimes it is hard to work fruit in when you're doing the workshops and stuff because they come and they have in their head they want to bake or they want to make pizza or, the Mexican food, things like that. But when we get them down to, we're working on the My Plate, we're working on food groups, we're trying to do nutrient dense, it's kind of, mind-boggling to work all that in for them. So this is one of those things that I never really had a problem working with. So what we're going to do, as I said before, it's low fat. So we're going to start with low-fat sour cream or light sour cream, you might find it. Any brand will do. It doesn't have to be the expensive stuff, or the more expensive, I should say. We're going to go with 2 tablespoons of skim milk. As I said, we're keeping it low fat. We've got our dairy in there, the sour cream, your low fat milk. One of the key ingredients in this is it's a French vanilla pudding mix, and you can oftentimes find it either the no sugar or the low fat version. Buy whichever you like. We're still keeping it light, even if you can't find the light version. So this is the regular that I'm using today. I'm going to pour 1 box of that in there, and then we're going to give it a stir. And if you could smell this right now, this stuff smells amazing. If you notice, it starts to look like cake batter, which is why kids love it, and grown-ups love it. But we're going to stir it up really good there. Make sure it's all incorporated. I make mine a little thick, but you could also add more skim milk to make a thinner version. I've seen people do that for the parfaits, like really this, that's our fruit cocktail, but if you want it a little more thin, you can add more milk. So we've got what looks like some cake batter there. I'm going to take a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. Now that flavor and that fragrance really, really pops. That gives it that last kick, that sweetness, but it's a really pungent and deep kind of flavor that almond extract adds. I've had people ask me if they could use other extracts that they have. You can. A tiny bit of lemon extract might work. It gives it a different flavor. I think it would lean more towards like a cheesecake or such. You could use vanilla extract. It's not going to be as deep and flavorful. Maybe a little bit of strawberry might be good. That's another, different kind of flavor. And you could also use food coloring to make this another color, but I like the cake batter look myself. So we've got that going there. We're just going to plate up just a little bit of it. Let's see. I'm going to use my spoon here. And we'll be good to go. You could use, if you had a pretty dish, just dish it up like you would a dip at a party. And let's see. Oh, have one of these made up. There we go. You could do it like that, like with a little skewer, and serve those individually. Or you could, like I said, go do your platter, have the thing of dip on the side, and you're good to go. I can go back and do the rest of the pineapple just to complete that. Okay, if y'all notice, knife skills, back to knife skills and safety. I'm going to clean my knife. I'm going to wipe it off because all I've cut with it is fruit. Of course, if you were cutting anything else with it, any kind of protein foods or meat, you would go clean and sanitize it. I'm just wiping it, but I'm going from the back here, which this is the spine of the knife. There are parts of a knife, if you didn't know. This is the tip, this is the spine, this is the edge or the blade, some of us call it. This is the heel, which you can use this heel when you're trying to separate bones or crush garlic and stuff. And then this is the butt of the knife, okay? And then this is the tang. This is where your knife blade goes through. If you have a really good knife, goes through the handle. It's called the tang. So a knife, you'll hear professionals talk about a full tang knife is their knife of choice. It's one that's really strong, that the handle, if it's plastic or even wood, some other material, it's not going to bend or give very easy. So that's just a little bit more about knives. And then we'll go ahead and cut up our pineapple. So I'm going to start right here. Like I said, I'm turning it over. That's the prettier side. I'm going to start here, put my knife tip in there, and then rock it down. Knife skills has a lot to do with the rocking motion of the knife. You want to make sure you're keeping that tip on the board and rocking it down, and that keeps you safe, keeps those fingers safe, and it gives you a cleaner, easier cut. Now, I normally wouldn't cut away from myself like that, but for the magic of Facebook vision, that's what we're doing. Okay, so like I said before, we've got our 2 parts there. Where's my fillet knife? And we're going to cut off our core. Being really careful. Get my hand out of the way there. Any more questions? Is anybody else? No one else has asked us anything.
Yeah, they've enjoyed it, though.
Good. Awesome.
I was going to say, yeah, if you want to showcase your dip again, just talk about it a little bit. Maybe show it like eating it, too, if you want.
Oh, I'll see. Okay. And if y'all see the way I did that, it's not that complicated, but you just, stagger the direction there, and that's what makes that great presentation. So, and then vary your colors of your usually I have more colors in this. These are red and blue, but they still look really pretty. And it makes for a great presentation.
Oh, there has been comments, and
Oh.
they weren't coming up. Okay,
What we got?
let's see. I'll go back and scroll. It's actually a lot of things saying, oh, if lactose intolerant, can you use another type of milk?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the easy part on that. Yeah, you should be fine with another almond milk, soy milk, anything like that. You'd be okay. And actually, you could leave the milk out. It's just going to be really, really dense. So it's up to you.
And they said, can you post the recipe for the fruit dip? Tell them it's coming in another video.
Absolutely. And yes, it's coming in another video that will be out shortly. We did a video on blackberries where we did some blackberry kebabs, and we did the fruit dip. So that will be out shortly, but I will send the recipe to make sure everybody gets it.
Sean is asking, should I allow pineapples to ripen a bit before eating? They smell better over time.
Absolutely, but like I said, you don't want to let them get to that point. If you like them a little more ripe, where you can start to kind of smell them when you walk by in the kitchen, then do so. But like I said, I would still make sure my leaves are staying pretty and healthy, and they're not, withering too much on the outside.
And can you actually go over the dip again? A couple people.
Sure, absolutely. So our fruit dip was low fat or light sour cream. Any brand is good. A little bit of skim milk, 2 tablespoons is what I use to get this consistency, which is pretty thick, probably a little bit thicker than cake batter. You could see it jiggling there. It kind of looks like butter in this container. So you've got your skim milk, 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract, and the 3.5 ounce boxes of the French vanilla pudding mix. It's got to be French vanilla. I've tried it with the regular vanilla. It's good. It just comes out a little differently. So I think the French vanilla and that almond extract just really produces this just flavor that blows everybody away. So that's it. You just mix it up, refrigerate, or eat right away.
How long does the dip stay fresh? How many days does it last?
I wouldn't keep it more than 3 days. After 3 days, you're going to start to get a little bit of a ring of moisture, and it's going to start separating a little bit. So at the 3-day mark, you can still mix it up again real good. After that, I would toss it. So you can make it ahead if you've got a party or a get-together, or you want to make it ahead for after-school snacks. I know we don't have much school left, but it can be done. And you can pack it for lunches and things like that. Okay?
And if you could tell them too, like, they don't hear me, so if you tell them that the recipe is this video will be posted after this.
Right, and this video will be posted to Facebook, the LSU Ag Center Facebook page, and YouTube. So look for our YouTube channel. There's another resource we have that has lots of great educational information, be it health, food and nutrition, horticulture, all different topics. So definitely check that out.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Anna. You don't hear my commentator in the background, but thank y'all so much for tuning in. This is the most fun part of my job, and I feel like with the